Why is there a tiny home village in this Portland backyard?
We bought this house, we crammed 8 people into one lot. We survive because the neighbors don't rat us out. And everybody loves us, apparently, so. It also helps that our tiny houses are cute and not janky sheds.
Portland, Oregon is known as the epicenter of the tiny home movement. Tiny communities are cropping up throughout the region. However, city policies regarding tiny houses are complicated. They're mostly illegal. So how are tiny home residents pulling this off? We visited one tiny community to figure out how. This is Simply Home. It's composed of 8 residents, ages 17 months to 53 years old.
People here are my landies. So instead of roomies, where you share like a house, we share land.
They're my friends and practically my family at this point. They're my tribe.
It's essentially a backyard village made up of 3 tiny homes and one big house. The 1,400 square foot single-family home is the community's heart.
Anna.
Tony Ditome lives in the main house with his wife, Aline, and daughter, Zaza. On paper, he owns the house and the land, but he considers himself equal to the other residents.
We are a community. I pay rent. Everybody pays rent on their spot. I don't want to be a landlord.
The city allows homes to have secondary dwellings built on a foundation, but tiny houses on wheels are considered RVs, not fixed homes, so they're technically not permitted in a backyard.
Tiny houses on wheels are still a gray area. They don't know what to do with it. They're not an RV. They're not a manufactured home for the most part.
Karen Paramore owns this 160 square foot tiny home, which is fully outfitted with French doors, living room, kitchen, and sleeping loft. There's electricity, internet access, and running water, which the big house supplies.
The main reason that I chose to live in a tiny house is I love small spaces. I've always moved, so I don't accrue a lot of stuff. And the reason for moving into a tiny house community was security. If I'm feeling lonely back here in my little tiny, it's really wonderful to be able to walk up to the big house and get some companionship.
Karen splits the big house's mortgage and utilities with the other residents. Her monthly housing costs come to $300. That's a quarter of the average rental rate for a studio in Portland.
I have to say, it is incredibly wonderful for us financially.
Portland's housing prices have soared in recent years. In 2017, they rose over 7%. A shortage of affordable homes is forcing the city to reevaluate its tiny house laws, which were originally put in place to prevent squatting and unsafe living conditions. But as tiny homes are becoming better designed and an affordable option, officials are rethinking their policies.
They just recently put a stay on tiny houses. To ease my mind for that, I would love to see the city say that this is legal.
For the first time in my life, I was living with a multi-generational community. This is just what family is. I love the people I live with, and I would do a lot for them.
Jake Antles and his girlfriend Sarah Fry are the newest Simply Home residents. They were drawn to its communal spirit, and the price was right.
I moved here because I can work part-time at a nonprofit and not get paid a whole lot, but I have incredibly affordable rent and feel really stable and able to engage in my neighborhood.
One thing that we've talked about is not coming all the way over to the path, so I'm thinking it's probably over that way a little bit.
We have a really wide variety of people in our community, but there's also an incredibly wide range of belief systems. I find that to be one of the most heartening aspects of this community, actually.
But when a group of strangers agree to live collectively, living habits have to be negotiated too.
It's a lot like an 8-person relationship. We have fights. I mean, we're people, we're humans, it happens. We just deal with it. Well, hopefully.
Having a co-housing situation means we do share activities and we share meals, and it is very important to make sure we have roles in the community. Tony takes care of all of our IT needs. Sarah's the garden bossy because of her interest in being outdoors. Mine is buying the bulk order, making sure that we have food. We spent an entire year meeting every week to craft our community living agreements. It's constantly able to shift and grow as we change.
The latest change was the birth of Tony's daughter, Zaza.
I mean, having a toddler kind of running around has forced us to be sort of more flexible.
Anytime you bring a baby into the house, you're going to increase laundry, increase mess.
It's not for everybody, but I think we have a good balance and it works. It's a social bond. I'm a primate, we need social connections, we need a structure around us in a community.
As these residents have shown, a true village is more than the sum of its tiny parts.
Cheers. That's my glass.